Hello and welcome to another tutorial getting familiar with the GBS Broadcaster software. We took a look at building a playlist in our last session. If you're going through these sequentially, we were building a playlist. Now we're going to take a look at scheduling that playlist. Now you don't have to schedule playlists. You can just open media file, click, and it'll begin immediately playing the playlist. And you can click the loop button beneath the playlist window and it'll just play until you tell it to stop. But let's say that playlist is playing, and while it's playing, giving you time to build a different playlist that you want to schedule to start, it's a specific time of day, but you didn't want your channel just to be empty with nothing playing. You let that playlist play, and then you schedule another one. So this session, we're going to actually schedule a playlist, and we'll take it for granted that you've done several playlists. One's playing, and you can pick from a list of the one that you want to schedule. Well, I had two playlists, and I'm using a limited number of programs, but I have two playlists already done, and right now this will be a pretty short tutorial. We're just going to see how to schedule it. And let's take a look at right now. Let's start a playlist. I'm clicking on my Select Media button, and I'm going to my playlist files where I keep them. And I keep it under the GBS folder. You remember the file structure we talked about? There's my GBS file structure. And I have playlists in there, and I need to filter it to make sure that I see. I go down to the bottom here, click. It's filtering now to look for video files, but I want it to look for playlist files. I know I'm in the right place. This PC, the drive that I have, the GBS folder, I'm in the playlist directory. But if you don't have it filtered for playlist, it'll be empty. And the convenience for this is if you have lots of files on your computer, it can be challenging to look through just hundreds of unrelated files for the one or two that you're looking for. So use that filter to your advantage. It filters to just playlist files. So let's say my first playlist, that's what I want to start playing. I click it and I open it. Now notice what happens. It automatically starts playing. And again, these are movie trailers, so they're short. And I have 6 in the list. And the list is 6 minutes and 55 seconds. All right. So let's say that one's playing. It's been playing for several hours so that my channel wouldn't be empty, because I don't have 24 hours worth of individual programs like TV stations do. I have a handful of programs. I have maybe 20 or 30, and I'm getting more every day, and I'll schedule those. But I have, some people even have an archive of programs that they've accumulated over the years, and even though on demand is very convenient, people don't necessarily work their way through your archives. So this is a good way to get people familiar with all the stuff that you've done and stuff that you've done in past times. You can build playlists so that when they come across your channel, they might see something they didn't know to look for. So this is the advantage of building a looping playlist. You introduce things to your viewer that they wouldn't know that you already have. So let's say that this program or this playlist is what's on and running right now, but you want to schedule another playlist to play at a different time. So now I'm going to go down to this window along the bottom of the screen, and you have options. This is the customization option. There are tabs here, and you can open up the work area related to each of these tabs. This is customization. By the way, you can put your own organizational name here, and you can pick whatever picture you want to be in here. You can customize that. We might cover that in another video, because the customize media, I'll do it now since I'm talking about it. If you click customize, you can change the name on this banner to your company name. And if you click the company tab, our main banner, you can change the picture, I'm sorry. And if you click the tab, you can change the name on this banner. But if we go across, if you want to see the current schedule, we'll talk about scheduling in a later tutorial. Building a schedule, we'll talk about it in a later tutorial. But right now we want to schedule a playlist. And the difference between a schedule and a playlist, and I don't want to be confusing there, a playlist is something that will play back to back with no set time scheduled for each item in that playlist. You start the playlist and let it just loop through. But you also have the capability of what we're doing now. You can start a playlist at a particular time and let it loop through the individual items, but the individual items are not scheduled. So the difference between a playlist and a schedule is the schedule has every single item in it designed to play at a particular or a specific time. The playlist itself can be scheduled, but the items in it loop back to back. So right now we're going to schedule a playlist, and I'm going to click on this tab, and it opened up a work area down here. And there are 3 steps in scheduling a playlist. Step 1, what time would you like the playlist to start? Using military time, right now it's 5:53 p.m., but on military time or 24-hour time, it's 1753 hours and 7 seconds. And that might sound really weird if you're used to, dealing in living in a world where it's AM, PM. I know that can be a challenge, but after a while this becomes second nature, and you'll begin to see the convenience and the importance of being exact when you're scheduling something, particularly if you're scheduling across time zones. 1700 hours is 17 hours past midnight. That's the easiest way to see it. And it goes all the way up to 23:59:59. That's 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds past midnight before it starts another day. So that's the easiest way to understand 24-hour time. So what time do you want it to start? Using military time, let's start it at 1800 hours. That's 6 p.m. So you simply, in this little window right here, you type the hour of the day, the minute of the day, and the seconds of the day. And if you wanted to start straight up at 6 o'clock or 1800 hours, you type 18:00:00:00. Now this is scheduled start at 1800 hours or 6 p.m. And it's in your time zone. So keep that in mind. If you wanted to start something in another time zone, you can add it to a schedule and make sure that the same thing starts at the time you want it in that time zone. That's a lot of fun. If you wanted somebody across the country to watch a particular program at 8 p.m. or 2000 hours, you set it to play at 2000 hours or 8 p.m. your time, and then you calculate going across the country that the next time zone to us is 1 hour earlier. So you calculate what time do you want it to start at 8 o'clock in the central time zone, or as we move all the way to the Pacific time zone. You can actually do that and schedule it at the time in your time zone for it to air at the same time in a different time zone. It takes a little calculating. I suggest that you write it out and then simply build a schedule for it to play. But right now we've picked the time for it to start. This little date picker, if you drop down, you'll see a calendar, and you can pick a particular time of day. You don't have to start it right now today, but you can start it at 1800 hours on the 29th of the month, or even next month. Believe it or not, you can actually start this thing. I don't know if you want to do that far ahead. You could usually build another schedule and just load it closer to the time that you wanted to start. But you realistically could set any time for this thing to start. But let's go back with a little arrow here, and I'm going to keep it on, today's date here, and select the playlist. The third step. Step 1, pick the time. Step 2, pick the date. And step 3, what playlist do you want it to play? Well, right now, playlist number 1, my first playlist, is what's looping. That's what's on the air right now. My viewers across the world are watching my first playlist. But now I want my second playlist to start at 1800 hours on this date at, this time, this date, and this particular playlist. Now here is your confirmation of what you just chose to happen. Your playlist time, date, and media information is this: 1800 hours, time, date, right here. And the file that it's going to play is located on this drive, in this folder, in this subfolder, and this is the name of the playlist. And just that simple, this playlist will start playing. No matter what's on the air right now or currently, when it hits this time on your clock, and notice this, it's 24-hour time. When it hits 1800, this will preempt anything that's playing on the air and begin to play. And that's how you schedule a playlist.